Howdy design fans and welcome back. In this lecture we're going to talk about the myth of the perfect conversion rate. As the title suggests, you're not going to have a perfect conversion rate. The same way that you understand in your business, right, that your product and services is not for everybody, right? There's a large segment of the population that are just not going to buy what you offer. The same thing holds true with your website visitors. Regardless of your conversion action, and we're going to talk about conversion actions in 2 lectures from now, different types of business models, the different types of conversion actions. And remember, we said that a conversion is not necessarily a sale. It's not necessarily a form submit. A conversion is something which is measurable. It's something which has a clear value that could be attached to it. And it's some sort of important action that ultimately leads or indicates a visitor will take your primary conversion action, which is some sort of revenue generating activity on your site. Very simply put, the conversion rate is the percentage of people who start and also complete the desired conversion action that you're tracking. We're going to talk about the idea of having multiple conversion actions, but hold that aside from now. The most important thing to understand is that whatever your conversion action that we're measuring on whatever landing page and whatever your business model is, it's not going to be perfect. Not all visitors are prospects, right? You're going to have people who are just simply never going to buy from you, who are even on your site. That's an important thing to understand, regardless of where the click came from. So you might think, hey, if I run a PPC campaign with very, very bottom of the funnel keywords that express a high level of commercial intent for my products, and I buy those clicks, I buy that traffic, you're still not going to have a perfect conversion rate. Your conversion ceiling is going to be well below 100%. Now, before any of you guys ask, well, what's the average conversion rate? Let me preempt that and say that there is no such thing as an average conversion rate. Your business model, your conversion action, lots of other live variables like time of day, time of the year, how well your landing page is designed. All these different variables will ultimately play into what your conversion rate actually is, but it's going to be the ceiling, the maximum conversion rate that is possible to achieve is going to be well below 100%. But what's really important here is for us to talk about the 3 types of website visitors, okay? You have the no's, right? So let's say we take our angry looking emoji, right? No's, people who will never convert. Now, these are people who maybe they can't afford your products, right? They just can't afford what you sell, even if they're in the market for it. They might just be casual browsers. They might just be checking up on information. They might be writing a school paper. There's a whole gamut of reasons why someone might be on your site that's not interested in buying from you. I'm sure you've all had the experience where you set up Google Analytics on your new landing page, you built a great website, and now you ran a PPC campaign, you ran a Facebook campaign, and you're waiting, and you see a few different visitors trickle in. Somebody adds something to their cart, somebody goes to the contact page, and then they leave. And what happened? Don't overthink that, because a lot of people are going to leave. And if you apply all the principles we learned in this course, and your landing pages are designed in accordance with every psychological principle that we speak about, you're still not going to have a perfect conversion rate because you're still going to have a proportion of the no's. Then you have the yeses, right? You have the people who are always going to convert. These are people who have a high level of commitment, not only to your products and services, not only are they in the market, but they have a high level of a commitment to converting on your site. And I'll tell you an interesting story. Very, very related to the video we watched in the previous lecture with that ridiculously designed bathroom sink. My wife and I went out to see the School of Rock musical in Manhattan a couple weeks ago. Fantastic, fantastic musical. And the day of, I still did not buy tickets yet, right? Procrastinated. But let's just say that if I didn't find tickets, there was going to be hell to pay. So I'm on my mobile phone, I'm on the road, I'm on my iPhone, and I'm trying to check out from Telecharge's website, which is not mobile optimized, on my phone. I'm trying to buy tickets. So if you've bought tickets before, you know that you have, it shows a seating chart, right? So you have a theater with 2,000 seats represented by little dots about the size of an electron, and my fat thumb, which is about the width of 300 of those seats, is supposed to select the seats that I want. So I found really, really great priced front row seats long story short, those front row seats were a great price because they were obstructed view. So I ended up having help to pay anyway, but that's besides the point. The point is I'm trying to check out. I'm scrolling to the right. I'm zooming in. Then I zoomed in too far, and you can't click anymore when you zoom in too far. So I zoom out a little bit, but now I'm too far zoomed out, and I can't select the one seat I want. So I figure out how to zoom in just the right amount, finally select my seats. And of course, throughout all of this, you have this 5-minute end of the world countdown before you lose your place in line for the seats that you want. So it's totally obscene, right? Totally obscene. But I was one of the yeses, right? I wasn't shopping around. I wasn't evaluating other options. I wasn't trying to see if Ticketmaster or StubHub had a better deal for these seats. I knew that if I didn't want to wind up in divorce court the next day, I had to get seats quickly, right? So I had a high level of commitment. Nothing was going to slow me down. And there's a lot of, besides from my story, I'm sure you've all had stories like this, but a lot of research has shown that there's going to be a contingency of your website traffic that's going to always convert. No matter how frustrating of an experience you provide, no matter how poorly optimized your landing pages are, they're going to convert because they're highly committed to your products and services and they're highly committed to you. Granted, this is a very small % of your visitors. This level of commitment is rare. It's not the average, right? But it exists. So those are your yeses. And then you have your maybes, right? Your maybes are people who are in the market, but they're not completely committed yet to buying what you sell. And this is where landing page optimization and conversion rate optimization really come in. This is where good design really makes a difference. Now, let's say we were to plot this out just to give a somewhat of a visual representation here, right? So let's say this represents all your website visitors, okay? And say you have this sliver represented in this pink color are your yeses, right? So here are your yeses. These are the people that are always going to convert on your website. Now say we have, in here, you have all your maybes. Okay, these are your maybes. I'm going to put this up here because you'll see why. These are the maybes. And let's not forget the segment of traffic that we like the least is our no's. These are people, like we said, casual browsing. They can't afford your products and services. No matter how well optimized your pages are, no matter how many tests you run, no matter how clear your headlines are, they're not going to buy from you. But what's important to notice here is that the maybes are not all created equal. Okay? You have 3 segments. You have the yes maybes, or the maybe yeses, however you want to say it. You have the maybe maybes. And then you have the maybe no's, right? So this is pretty self-explanatory. Within the people who are all potential prospects of what you offer, you have people who are leaning into the no category, right? They're not sure if they could afford it. They're not really sure if they need the product. They're not really sure if your version of the product is right for them. You have the maybe maybes who are pretty ambivalent. They're not really sure if they want it or not, but they really can go either way. They're on the fence. And then you have the people who are almost in the yes category. Now, this is important to realize that your efforts in effective landing page design and conversion rate optimization, they essentially stop right here. You're not going to be converting the maybe no's, and you're not going to be converting the no's. Even people who are on the fence, who are in your market, who are evaluating, better design will not convert them. We're going to talk about the sales funnel, right? The famous sales funnel of the stages of attention, interest, desire, action. We're going to talk about that. But these maybe no's are too early in the funnel. Your design will not have an impact. Your design will also not have an impact here. Remember, we said the yeses are also not really going to be affected by good design or bad design because they're buying what you have. Your efforts are effective here. The people who are leaning towards your products and the people who are on the fence. Obviously, as you get closer to the maybe no's, it gets harder. But your maximum conversion ceiling is this traffic coming to your site. This traffic here, the maybe no's and the no's, are never going to be your converters. This is your ceiling. Now, if your boss comes to you and says, why is our conversion rate so low, right? Why do we have so many people not buying what we offer? Why are people abandoning their carts and they're not converting through our remarketing campaigns? You show them this slide. You show your boss that I said your conversion ceiling is well below 100%. And this is important. Once again, this is not a practical technique that I'm teaching you. We're going to go through all the practical techniques. We're going to start talking about all those different types of things to convert these people. The main thing to understand is this is laying the groundwork for being able to appropriately assess and appropriately understand and analyze our campaigns, our structure, and see conversion rate in the bigger picture of in the entire pool of all our website visitors. So I think this is an important thing to remember. So we have our love, our emoji and love is our yeses. We have our maybe no's who are surprised by how expensive we are. We have the emoji who's laughing really hard because this is obviously so utterly ridiculous that I'm never gonna buy the crap you sell. And then we have the maybes, and the maybe yeses who are smiley, they're happy, but they're not in love yet. But if you design your page as well, they'll fall in love with what you offer. So I hope this helps to get a sense of laying the foundation, developing a good framework to understand, to be able to report, to be able to kind of assess the potential of what we're doing here. And I will see you in the next lecture where we're going to talk about the different types of landing pages. So you get a sense of where your visitors are, what type of landing page might be best for your business, or for which campaign you're running. And then we're going to talk about all the different types of conversion actions, business models, the sales cycle, and finally we're going to get into all the practical techniques to create high converting landing pages. So thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you guys very soon in the very next lecture.